All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church, building community, inspiring growth, creating change. Here in the heart of Kansas City, we come together to create this hour of shared reflection so that we might be renewed and encouraged for these times and inspired to lives of greater dignity, higher purpose, deeper generosity, and more effective action. If you are new to Unitarian Universalism or to our congregation, we want to get to know you and share a part of your journey. If this place is already your spiritual home, welcome once more. We need one another, and it is good to be together again. Through the gifts of technology, we also gather virtually to celebrate community and connections as we lean into the values of justice, compassion, and reason. Welcome to all those who are joining us in this way today. Together we learn the love that has the power to overcome both loneliness in the heart and oppression in the world. Welcome to our service this morning. May the words and music and images that we offer today nourish our best selves, calling forth abundant wisdom and love.
It's a little Groundhog's Day in November. Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Excellent. Scott Hensey. I'm a member of All Souls, and I'm very thankful to be with you here this morning. And we're glad you're here today joining us, either online or here in person this Sunday, one day after Veterans Day. Now we have the pleasure of recognizing those visiting us for the first time. If you're a first-time visitor, please don't feel afraid to stand up or raise your hand. Our ushers have a gift for you. So please wait to sit down or lower your hand until after you've received it. You are welcome here. With all the identities that you hold, and in your fullness as a person. We hope that you will bring your whole self to this time we spend together. First-time visitors and visitors who have not shared a lunch with us, please be our guest for lunch today. The Cassidy sisters are cooking a wonderful lunch, and we have vegetarian options as well. You only need to pick up a ticket from the welcome table in the lobby. To have lunch with us as our guest, it would be our pleasure. We look forward to making your acquaintances and sharing conversation while breaking bread. Additionally, our Sunday Plus lunch today is our annual Veterans Appreciation Dinner. Veterans, thank you, and please join us as our honored guests for lunch today. Fellow members, at the conclusion of this service, introduce yourself to any new faces you might come across. Extend your own personal welcome and begin a conversation that might last for decades.
I am the Reverend Erin Dajka Holley. I am the acting lead minister here at All Souls, and I'm joined by the Reverend Dr. Kendall Gibbons, the senior minister. This morning, we will welcome 7 new members into our midst. Do that again for them when they actually come up here. These are new members who are calling All Souls their community, their spiritual home. It is a time to rejoice, to celebrate, to welcome with all of our hearts. And let us find a place for each new member. My theme this morning is generosity. And as we spend time reflecting on the presence of abundance, I hope that your mind's wanderings will also consider the ways in which you are and might be generous to the church. One way to be generous for generations to come is to contribute to the endowment with a specific gift or a bequest. Members of the endowment committee will be in the lobby after the service so that you can learn more about this specific form of financial support. Our opening words are by Gretchen Haley. The story goes that once there was a wise woman traveling all through the mountains. One day she found a precious stone in a stream. She was so happy and grateful. It could change her life. The next day, she met a man traveling just like her through the mountains. He was hungry, and she was happy to share her food. But as she opened her bag, the man saw the stone, and he knew that with this stone, he would be able to eat all of his favorite foods. His mouth watered, imagining all the incredible flavors. All the ways that his life would be filled with so much goodness. Instead of the food, he asked, "Can I have that stone?" The woman looked at him. Of course. And just like that, it was his. And the man was so happy, he ran quickly away, afraid that she would change her mind. A few days later, however, the man appeared again, carrying the stone in his hands. "Take it back," he said. "Instead, I hope you can give me something even more precious than this precious stone. I hope that you can give me whatever is within you that made it so easy for you when I asked to just give it away." In this place, for this hour, we are all trying to learn how it is when we are asked to trust, to love, to give of ourselves, to share our blessings, that we can say an easy and great yes. And also, we are here to remember we all carry with us a precious stone that is this great blessing, this gift that is just ours. This gift that we long to offer the world, that in our giving will bless us all the more.
This morning we celebrate also the generosity of those who have given years of their lives, as well as their courage and commitment to defend our nation in the armed services. Would those who are veterans please stand and be recognized? If you are a veteran joining us online, please let us know in the comments. You are also invited, as Scott said, to be our guests for lunch, prepared with gratitude by Diane and Sharon Cassidy and their helpers following this presentation. May we honor your service. May we honor your service by finding our way beyond war and cease to require the lifeblood of our best youth. Thank you to each of you for your service. In your honor, we light this chalice.
Here today, in this place, with these people, may we listen so that we hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice we light our way. Please stand as you are able and join together in song.
This is you. Okay.
It is with rejoicing that we this morning have the opportunity formally to welcome into membership those who have joined the All Souls congregation during the past several months. Ours is a free faith, and our church is not based upon dogma or upon creeds, but upon the thoughtful and freely given commitment of mind and heart and community. Into this circle of shared search, collective counsel, and mutual support, these people have elected to enter.
Technical difficulties.
Sorry about that. We didn't have the book out. All right, well, everyone knows me. I'm Angie Jennings, the membership coordinator here, and it is my pleasure to introduce you to 7 of our new members today who will be signing the book. I'm very excited about that. And along with all of the desserts for Sunday Plus, we also have cake. So you will be well sugared today. So first up, it's alphabetical by last name. Our first new member is Hannah Cooper. Hannah, come on down. Hannah was raised in the Topeka, Kansas UU congregation, with whom she went to Winfield every year for the Bluegrass Festival. She continues to find meaning in playing fiddle and in other pastimes like jewelry making, Dungeons and Dragons, and 3D printing. She's a dirt druid focused on having a beneficial impact on the interconnected web of our existence through vegetarianism, gardening, and improving the health of her own backyard soil network. She hopes the future looks more like Star Trek than Mad Max, as Tristan likes to say, and I'll introduce you to Tristan at the very end. Next, we have Brian Doyle. Brian recently moved to Kansas City to be closer to the family. Julie Kaler, everyone knows Julie. In April of 2022, he had a stroke and was in a nursing home for about a year and a half. He is happy to be here and is progressively getting better, finding himself in a position of starting over again at 51. It's not perfect, he says, but he's grateful for some more time. He loves to read and the theater, ballet and symphony. He enjoys any of the arts and has enjoyed his time as a visitor here, so he's happy to become a member. We're very happy too. Patricia and Carl Jonitz. Carl is a lifetime UU, and he and Patricia were married by his church's minister in Urbana, Illinois. Carl is a retired foreign officer and a consultant. Patricia is a retired theater person, turned university professor and consultant. They lived and worked for many years in Europe and recently moved to Kansas City and joined All Souls from First Unitarian Society in Denver. They also have a son and a grandson in the area. Jackie Noonan. Jackie, I know you're in the house. There you are. Jackie is very passionate in art, music, and writing. She likes to write stories and create art projects in her free time. She plays the flute, enjoys singing in the church choir. She is looking forward to picking up the saxophone. She's earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and graduated from the University of Central Missouri. She is also very passionate about her studies and plans to continue when she has a chance. She truly enjoys helping others, and becoming a member of All Souls has given her the opportunity to meet like-minded people who are passionate about giving back to the community. Gina Paesi and her lovely little daughter, Madeline. Gina is a lover of words, people, teaching, books, writing, coffee, and cities. Born and raised in New York City, Kansas City has become a home since 2017. She looks forward to getting to know this community and to seek ways to work together and bring more light to our families and communities. And last, and last, but so very not least, is the aforementioned Tristan Wall. Tristan was born and raised in Winfield, Kansas, and enjoys going to the Bluegrass Festival every year. He's a game master for D&D group that meets at All Souls every other week. He is a kitchen witch dedicated to sustainable consumption within our interconnected web by practicing vegetarianism, growing their own herbs and vegetables, buying secondhand as often as possible, and working in renewable energies, specifically solar. All right.
I think I
The
was going to have you
class
do
of
that.
fall of 2023. All right, now we will all recite the new member covenant.
In the spirit of dedication, I now invite our congregation to join with our new members in speaking our covenant, which together we affirm. Goodwill is the spirit of this church, and service is His law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak the truth in love, and to help one another.
Into this community, so dedicated and so understood, these new members are now enfolded. May our congregation nurture and challenge them, offering comfort and guidance and calling forth the best within them. May they, in their turn, bring to this institution energy, vision, and commitment, that it may become ever more fully the community we have hoped for it to be. Together we say, we rejoice in the promise of a new friendship and growth, and again we pledge to walk together in the way of truth, compassion, and freedom. May the splendid venture of life continue to be celebrated faithfully here, and in this community, may the human spirit find an ample home. Let us now sing our children to their classes.
I'm Ken McNevin. My wife Terry is here with me, and we're going to speak a little bit about what do we do with the collection? What good does it do? How does it help? And because Terry has some hands-on connection with that from almost the first week she was here as a member, I'm going to ask her to speak first.
Hi. I think I'm going to do a Reverend Erin trick here. Hi. We have been in that place, standing there, signing that book, not that long ago. But by doing that, we have opened our lives in immeasurable kinds of ways. Last November, on Thanksgiving, I was able to serve with the hunger outreach team in Washington Park, and it's an experience that has completely changed my life. How many of you have made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? How many of you can hold your hand up? How many of you have made other kinds of sandwiches here on Thursday night? Yay! How many of you have gone out to serve? How many of you have chopped and stirred and done all kinds of magical things to prepare a meal for our houseless friends? How many of us? You are the reason I give, because this church does wonderfully magical things. The other thing I do is I go to Carver dual language schools. So I'm going to ask you again, how many of you have ever knitted a cap for a student or a scarf? How many of you have ever gone over and helped with field trips? How many of you have ever participated in the Lead to Read program, where there we go. It's amazing. You are why I give, because that is a wonderful program that takes children who sometimes have had to, they and their families have had to struggle to get here. And we have made that be we are part of this wonderful community. So again, you are why I give. I'm going to turn for just a second to these people right over here. How many of you in May saw Tyler Sweet? What a gutsy thing to pull off. It was a complicated piece of music about a timely subject, about bullying. And when Shanna, I knew I was going to mess it up. And when she sang, I Love You More, it touched my very soul. So because of you all, I give.
That's one of these cases of that's a hard act to follow. I'm holding this because I have a condition going on with me where I sometimes lose track of what the word is I want to say. But thank heavens I can still read it at least. And here's what I put down. Infrastructure is a requirement for any kind of creation. The oak tree doesn't grow new oaks if it doesn't put its acorns down on the ground in a place where the squirrels don't eat all of them. For members and creation of roots into communities, it's the same thing. I came here first and found a AA group of churchgoers, agnostics, and atheists. Then I saw the families of the Israel of God Bible study group. And then one day I was coming into the church here, and church members and people that I didn't recognize from the church were rustling around and changing stuff here in Bragg and setting up something. So I asked somebody what was going on, and they said, oh, we're setting up for a bar mitzvah. Okay, bar mitzvah Unitarians, okay. I didn't know that was part of the stuff that went on there. And then I realized that that was not the case. It was Koyami, the congregation that sends a good bit of its religious time and celebratory and memorial time in this room. That took me back, by the way, almost at that point, I flashed back to what will be 50 years ago at the end of December. And that's when my wife and I got married in a little Catholic church in Ottawa, Kansas. The person that read the first scripture reading, which is from the Old Testament, was a fellow, the late Bruce Ephron, who was Jewish. My father, late father now, Baptist deacon, read the second one. And when it came to the Our Father, a black minister, friend of Terry's, sang the Our Father. That is 1 hour of one day. But today it happens here, as Terry has said, time after time after time. It takes money to do that because it's hard to prepare meals for people if there's no lights or power in the kitchen. It's hard for somebody to have Bible study if there's not a place where they can do it, weather or rain or snow or sleet. All of those things puts us together in a position of spreading roots into the community. The last thing I'd mention connected with that is that I was in here another time, and there was a Jewish activity going on of some sort, and there was a Kansas City police officer. Sadly, we have to have that kind of thing where Jewish people gather together. And I got to talking with him, and he mentioned that he was part of the Bible study group. And then he said, we got invited to Seder by Koyami. It made me think of what's going on right now today, where people are not doing that and cannot seemingly find a way to do it. But what we do here can help that tide at least be lessened a bit, if not all around in our community and in our city. Thank you.
And that, my friends, is a hard act to follow. And now our collection will be gratefully received. Thank you.
Open arms.
That's the ultimate hard act to follow. You guys are amazing. And now our collection has been given and gratefully received. Let's say this together. We dedicate our offerings and our actions to the mission at the heart of this congregation, to build a respectful, caring community, to inspire personal and spiritual growth, and to create change toward a just and compassionate society.
This is an excerpt from The Serviceberry, An Economy of Abundance by Robin Wall Kimmerer, a Native American botanist, author, and professor of environmental biology. The cool breath of evening slips off the wooded hills, displacing the heat of the day, and with it come the birds, as eager for the cool as I am. They arrive in a flock of calls that sound like laughter, and I have to laugh back with the same delight. They are all around me, cedar waxwings and catbirds, and a flash of bluebird iridescence. I have never felt such a kinship to my namesake, Robin, as in this moment when we are both stuffing our mouths with berries and chortling with happiness. The bushes are laden with fat clusters of red, blue, and wine purple in every stage of ripeness. So many you can pick them by the handful. I'm glad I have a pail and wonder if the birds will be able to fly with their bellies as full as mine. This abundance of berries feels like a pure gift from the land. I have not earned, paid for, nor labored for them. There's no mathematics of worthiness that reckons I deserve them in any way. And yet, here they are, along with the sun and the air and the birds and the rain, gathering in the towers of cumulonimbi. You could call them natural resources or ecosystem services, but the robins and I know them as gifts. We both sing with gratitude with our mouths full. Part of my delight comes from their unexpected presence. The local native service birds, Emilinchir arbrea, you can tell I'm not a botanist, arborea, have small hard fruits, which tend toward dryness, and only once in a while is there a tree with sweet offerings. The bounty in my bucket is a western species, A. alnifolium, known as Saskatoons, planted by my farmer neighbor, and this is their first bearing year, which they do with an enthusiasm which matches my own. In Potawatomi, it is called bozakmin, which is a superlative, the best of the berries. I agree with my ancestors on the rightness of that name. Imagine a fruit that tastes like a blueberry crossed with the satisfying heft of an apple, a touch of rosewater, and a minuscule crunch of almond-flavored seeds. They taste like nothing a grocery store has to offer. Wild, complex with a chemistry that your body recognizes as the real food it's been waiting for. For me, the most important part of the road bozakmin is min, the root for berry. It appears in our Potawatomi words for blueberry, strawberry, raspberry, even apple, maize, and wild rice. The revelation in that word is a treasure for me because it is also the root of the word gift. In naming the plants who shower us with goodness, we recognize that these things are gifts from our plant relatives, manifestations of their generosity, care, and creativity. When we speak of these, not as things or products or commodities, but as gifts, the whole relationship changes. I can't help but gaze at them, cupped like jewels in my hand, and breathe out my gratitude.
This reflection is from Missouri-born poet and author Pat Schneider. It's called The Patience of Ordinary Things. It's a kind of love, is it not? How the cup holds the tea, how the chair stands sturdy and foursquare, how the floor receives the bottoms of shoes or toes, how soles of feet know where they're supposed to be. I've been thinking about the patience of ordinary things, how clothes wait respectfully in closets, soap dries quietly in the dish, towels drink the wet from the skin of the back, and the lovely repetition of stairs. And what is more generous than a window?
Some of you have wondered, what's in my glass tumbler with the green lid? Apple juice? Something stronger? But no, it's tea. It's always tea. I drink tea constantly. Maybe I take teetotaler too literally. So when Pat Schneider writes, it is a kind of love, is it not? How the cup holds the tea. Of course, it grabs my attention. How the cup holds the tea. I never thought of the cup as an active participant in my tea. But it does hold the liquid. It doesn't let it drip away slowly or even more quickly away if I were to try to hold the tea in my hands. And the cup does not complain that the tea is scalding. But goodness, would my hands complain, and do when I am careless and spill. It is easy for me to acknowledge that I received this cup as a gift from a friend. But the cup itself, its action of holding my tea while I allow it to cool, of its keeping the tea from spilling as I carry it from my home to the church and from room to room, the cup itself provides a gift. Its existence is a gift. The cup itself practices constant generosity. It is a kind of love, is it not? How the cup holds the tea. Viewed in this light, the world, the universe, is made of generosity. The sun goes about being a miasma of incandescent plasma for billions of years, providing light and heat to our simple planet. When you really think about it, the vast majority of the energy our society relies upon has come from the sun. Sure, there's the obvious solar energy, but wind is caused by heating due to the sun. Hydropower relies upon the water cycle that needs the sun for water to evaporate. Ethanol comes from corn, which grows because of the sun. And really, all of our fossil fuels originally came to being because ancient plants stored energy from the sun. The exceptions to the energy from the sun hypothesis are geothermal, tidal, and nuclear. But all of that energy, it's a gift. Hafiz wrote a poem that has been translated even after all this time. The sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. And that love makes my car work and allows me to play silly games on my phone. Such amazing generosity. And I've been thinking this week about the generosity of the world to give me the smell of crisp fallen leaves. Every year, I look forward to this smell, and its coming is something I relish and enjoy, but it is something that also brings sadness and grief, because it heralds the coming of the winter. The smell is rich and earthy. It tells me that the earth is dying, but it also reminds me that without the smell of spring would be impossible. Everything is its own gift of love. Everything. Chairs and floors and toes and feet and clothes and soap and towels and stairs, all of them gifts, windows too. Just this morning, what gifts of the world have you experienced? The more I consider these gifts, the more of them I realize, and I swim in the sea of generosity, surrounded, delighted, overwhelmed. And then I greet my all too constant companion, shame, because I don't recognize these gifts enough. I only sit with them when I'm preaching about them. And that cannot come close to how much I need to step back from the demands and the worries and the day-to-day so that I can remind myself that the world is amazing and generous, so very generous. And I almost never notice. But it is important for me to greet the shame and remind myself that it truly is unnecessary. Yes, it would be wonderful to practice noticing the world's generosity all of the time, yes. And I am not a bad person. not a bad minister, that I do not constantly attend to this. It's okay, shame. I intend to be more attentive, and even if I don't follow through, it is okay. And it's important to remind shame that it's okay, because it is. I don't think I've ever had a serviceberry, which are also called Saskatoon, Juneberry, and other names. But I recognize that sense of complete abundance while harvesting. It reminds me of my childhood when I discovered grapes growing on the fence between our garage and our neighbor's backyard. I would pick a few, take one at a time to break it open, suck out the sour center, pull away the seeds to spit them out, and then enjoy the skin with its few drops of sweet, sweet liquid left inside. These were not eating grapes, but they were there, just by the garage. And I enjoyed them nonetheless. And one year, my mother and I decided to use the grapes more as they were intended. We made grape juice. I don't really remember the process, but it probably included some cooking. And I remember how much my mother complained about just how hard it was to strain all of the grape pieces from the concentrated juice. That dark purple liquid was so special to me. We picked the grapes that were simply there. Our neighbor did not tend the vine in any way. And then with some work, I had grape juice, the literal gift of the vine. In her consideration of the serviceberry, Robin Wall Kimmerer, a botanist of indigenous heritage, recognizes how the Potawatomi people name plants that provide with a root word that means gift. And she writes, in the presence of such gifts, gratitude is the intuitive first response. And for her, gratitude is more than thank you, but a deep recognition of abundance, along with a sense of sufficiency. This is a gift, so there is no reason to take more than you need. And then, after the gratitude, comes reciprocity. How can I give a gift in return? And out of those responses, she considers a gift economy. An economy that is based in abundance. An economy that recognizes the resources around us. The plants, the animals, the water, the air, the minerals and metals as gifts. Gifts to be received with gratitude and reciprocity. Because there is abundance. We are surrounded by all that we need, and we receive what is necessary, and we give what we have that is beyond that. Kimmerer tells the story of a hunter in a Brazilian rainforest who brought back a large kill. And a researcher who was studying the hunter's community asked him what he would do to store the excess. But the hunter did not understand why he would want to store any of the meat. Because there was more than his family needed. He would welcome the entire village to a feast to share the bounty. And the hunter responded to the researcher, "Store my meat? I store my meat in the belly of my brother." Abundance is to be shared. A part of me considers this story quaint and naive. In the real world, resources are scarce. We must protect what we have, to protect against that scarcity, to care for ourselves and our families, right? That's the way of it. That is what the Western market economy has taught us for all of our lives. Resources are scarce, so we must hoard wealth and trade in ways that enrich each of us individually. The focus remains on each individual's ability to navigate scarcity, because the assumption is that there is not and can never be enough. Therefore, everything is a competition, person against person, scrambling to reach the top. But that's not what Kimmerer sees among the plants. The serviceberry feasts on an abundance of sunshine, air, and rain, creating an abundance of berries that allow the birds to eat their fill. And the birds, in turn, help scatter the serviceberry's seeds. And this is relationship. This is generosity, abundance. What scientists keep finding in nature is more and more relationship. More and more niches, more and more communication and generosity within the abundance of the world. You've heard about the fungus that connects the root system of trees, helping to funnel nutrients where they are needed and creating vast networks of resource sharing. And I saw a National Geographic program recently on whales. And as a scientist brought his camera under the water to view an orca, the whale literally gave him the stingray it had just caught. It was as though the whale was saying, "Hi, welcome, here, have something to eat. You're so small." The whale senses the abundance around it, and it is generous with no expectation of return. Now you see, I have struggled for years with the common takeaway from Darwin's work, the survival of the fittest. We've taken this to continue that narrative of scarcity. Plants and animals are in competition with one another. Which will survive to procreate? Competition for resources, competition for mates, scarcity. But is it really about scarcity? Competition? I mean, even in childhood, I was taught about ecosystems where different species have different niches. Some birds live on this part of the tree, others live higher up, and some on the ground. They're not in competition. They cooperate and each find their own place to enjoy abundance. It's about the whole, not necessarily the individual. So I consider Darwin and the interpretations of Darwin over the last century and a half to be artifacts of context. We place our own assumptions onto the world around us, onto society around us. If our assumptions are based in a scarcity model, because that is how our market economy functions, that is what we see in the natural world. If we have learned that we are in constant competition with those around us, we see species and individuals in competition with each other. I don't doubt Darwin's observations, but what we do with that data is based in our own experience of the world. Our interpretation exists only in context. And we can choose to recognize abundance. We can witness all of the gifts that surround us, be they from the earth or from one another. The gift of your presence here today. The gift of the choir. You are generous, and we are generous. I won't go into details now, but just last week, the Unitarian Universalist Association published the latest version of the proposed new language for what we lovingly call Article 2 of the UUA bylaws. You may have heard of the current language referred to as the principles and sources. But instead of principles, the proposed language names values. 6 values with love in the center. And one of those values is generosity. It states, we cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. Generosity exists in relationship. The relationships of the serviceberry tree with the earth and the sun and the robins and the cedar waxwings, more than nurturing an internal sense of abundance, which I still recommend, we are called to be generous with one another and together. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. And this reminds me of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's statement, "We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." In our network of mutuality, or is our network of mutuality about scarcity or about competition, and competition? Or could it be about abundance, generosity, and relationship? I believe that we are called to build the latter. And let's use Dr. King's word for it, beloved community. A community where we place love at the center, recognize abundance, and live into generosity. And we're trying to build that here at All Souls. Among those of us already here, those who have just become members, and those among us in the wider multicultural community for whom we might create a place here. At the same time that building beloved community asks us to delve into the work of anti-racism and anti-oppression, it also challenges us toward living into abundance and generosity. Because too often we focus on the scarcity. Our budget is in deficit. We want to offer health insurance to our employees, but we can't afford it. We want to provide more comprehensive care of time and presence to members who cannot come to church, but we don't have enough volunteers. It's a theme in so many churches right now, is that we don't have enough. But we are a generous people. We are a respectful, caring community. We have what we need if we recognize the abundance and all of the gifts that we share with one another. We have what we need. Retired Unitarian Universalist minister, the Reverend Richard Gilbert, who I know as Dick, wrote these words: "Each morning, we hold out our chalice of being to be filled with the graces of life that abound, air to breathe, food to eat, companions to love, beauty to behold, art to cherish, causes to serve. They come in ritual procession, these gifts of life. Whether we deserve them, we cannot know or say, for they are poured out for us. Our task is to hold steady the chalice of our being. We carry the chalice with us as we go, either meandering aimlessly or with a destination in our eye. We share its abundance if we have any sense, reminding others as we remind ourselves of the contents of the chalice that we don't deserve. Water from living streams fills it, if only we hold it out faithfully. We give back, if we can, something of ourselves. Some love, some beauty, some grace, some gift. We give back in gratitude if we can. Something like what is poured into our chalice of being for those who abide with us and will follow. Each morning, we hold out the chalice of our being to receive, to carry, to give back. The chalice of our being, our cup. It's a kind of love, is it not? How the cup holds the tea. May it be so.
we release this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our closing words are by Eric Williams. May you be filled with the blessings of this covenanted community. May you carry them with you as you depart from here. May you discover the places in the world where these blessings are needed. May you have the courage to share them. Go in peace.